Hello, my name is Marlon Barriosolano. This is a share review. This is a show that I went last night. It was at DTW. It's Nora Chipaumire, and the show or the performance or the piece was called She Murenga, that translates Struggle, Cry, Revolution. Nora Chipaumire has been performing with Urban Bush women. And this, I think, is her very first solo performance, like a whole evening show, solo in New York. And she's from a lady from Zimbabwe, and she tells in her biography things that contextualize this piece, and mostly that she grew up during the Shimurenga Chechiripi, or Second War of Liberation. And I think first I have to say that she is a very, very compelling performer. She's a very strong and striking presence as a soloist. So it was extremely compelling to watch her dealing with a 1 hour performance as a solo, in which actually the video played like a very not such an important role, but actually contextualized the piece a little bit with images, I think, from Zimbabwe, and some ideas and messages of revolution and change. So I enjoy the piece, and it brought a lot of questions for me. At certain points it felt very distant. I felt like she is a very compelling, as I said, performer, but at the same time she created this world of memory in which for me was at some point like really kind of hard to penetrate. So but I try to open myself, and it actually created a lot of questions for me in relationship of how for example, this kind of work, it was so direct about anger, and I felt that I was kind of witnessing this ongoing purgation of these memories, and at the same time, kind of like this fist up in which I totally felt that there's like this world of memories and emotions that were transmitted to me, but at the same time I felt like I am so used to the irony. I'm so used to kind of this double message, this kind of cross layers of in a narrative, but in any sense this kind of disqualify her work or anything. It just made me think a lot about what I am very used to see, or go and see a lot of performances in which seems like we don't like something and we just find this very indirect ways of telling truth, and kind of sly ways of thinking about ourselves, but this Nora created this memory world in which she challenged that assumption for me, and it was very powerful. It was engaging, and she used a lot of dancing. Kind of, you all totally felt that her body was like clenched by suffering, and at the same time by anger, but with this outburst of kind of magic or certain kind of movement that have to be done that way and repeated many times to make this spirits memories go away. But I think it brings a lot of questions, and also like seeing a performer that is from Africa, and brings all these issues of post-colonialism, and she lives in New York, and at the same time it was very interesting to notice that definitely the I didn't do a statistics, but the crowd at DTW tonight was much more diverse than it normally is, talking about ethnicity. So it was very interesting to kind of be directly put in this context in which ethnicity I think it matters and matters. And also I found some of the images extremely compelling and evocative. Even reminded me from Venezuela, that I used to go to certain towns where there is a lot of influence of like the African descent people. And I remember a lot of the women walking with big pots with water in their head, and the beauty of that. But at the same time, I wonder if there is this a little bit of exoticization from the audience. Can we escape from that? I don't know. I think that her movement, there was a solo that she did in the front, in which she literally went in this talk directly to this past that was in stage left, and she danced with a lot of African dance that we can identify directly as African dance steps, but at the same time caught by this outburst of anger or confrontational gaze towards the memory. And at the end, she just turns towards the audience and she kind of asks, I think it's so what, or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but also she said beautiful metaphors, and she also used the voice in the performance, and when she asked questions, and she said something about the weather is not necessarily how it is in the hot areas, and so I think that also this this piece for me represents an impossibility of communicating memories. You can communicate certain kind of feeling, but definitely I think that she recreated some moments of dirt and mess and violence, and I think that it was pretty direct, and I felt it, but also creates that questions that about the how to convey this very, very internal space in which there is no space for irony, because it's about resistance, it's about this life and death, it's about freedom. And so I think that it was for me very good to watch, and definitely it's not something that we are watching very often in downtown or even at DTW. But it's great to have this balance in the programming, and it brought this very important question for me about perhaps, I think that, we're seeing a little bit the other, but at the same time, she connects very directly with, even she was doing the fist up and with these ideas of change and resistance. So I really it plays a question for me: what is resistance for us, and how are we resisting? What are we fighting for? And also how we have learned to be so slick and sly and cool. She was actually not cool, but she was intense. She was not cool of pretending to be. It was no aloofness. It was this presence of fighting presence, and challenging in a way to our notions of freedom and territory and space. Okay, that was a share review of Nora Chipaumire. Excellent, and I think that I got it. And with Chi Murenga, Struggle, Cry, Revolution, and I think that it was conveyed in her piece and with her solo. Thank you.